Hi, everybody. This is Dawn Mitchell, and welcome to Dawn of Sports. And today we're going to heat things up a little bit. I know the term hot stove baseball is something everyone's looking forward to, but I'm really looking forward to this conversation with Twins communications manager Nina Zimmerman. I always talk on the show about lions don't need to roar when it comes to women in leadership. And I love Nina, and she's the perfect example. And I can't wait to just get to know her a little bit more for you guys and to talk some baseball coming up.
This will be fun for me. Two of my favorite people in sports, Dawn Mitchell from Fox 9, Nina Zimmerman from the Twins. Nina's been doing a great job with the Twins for a long time now. This is Dawn of Sports. We're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services studio. We'd also like to thank Lexus of Wayzata in Maplewood and Minnesota Masonic Charities. Best way to listen to this show or any show you like at talknorth.com. Please subscribe to your favorite podcast app. We're also doing some of our shows on YouTube, including the John Krasinski Show, the Michael Russo, Anthony LaPanta show, which is called Worst Seats in the House. We've got all the sports covered, 3 Viking shows, baseball with Roy Smalley and Lavelle Neal. Check it out. You'll find something you like. We do appreciate it. Back to Dawn.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Without further ado, we're going to bring in Nina Zimmerman from the Twins. Nina, I know it is your day off, which are rare, even in the off season. So thank you so much for joining us and welcome to our podcast. How are you?
No, my pleasure. Thank you guys so much for having me on. This will be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
You know, I always like to ask people how you become a baseball fan. And it's interesting because it is definitely not a sport where a lot of young people say, oh, it was super quick and exciting. And I got into it real fast. My dad took us. My first game, believe it or not, was not a Twins game, not even a Red Sox. It was a Mets game. And we're in, obviously, New York, New Jersey area at the time. And I loved it. I was hooked. And my dad taught me how to score a game and all of that. How did you first get into loving America's favorite national pastime?
Yeah. So Dawn, I feel like I've got a pretty similar genesis story to you there. So I'm originally from the Chicago area. And when I was a kid, my dad, who's originally from Philly, took me and my brother to both Cubs and White Sox games. And, because he was like, 2 teams here. I'm not from here. Let the kids decide. My brother quickly became a Cubs fan, and little 5-year-old Nina said, there are 2 teams here. I really like this sport. Why do I have to pick? So I never did. My dad was definitely a big influence on that. He, similar to you, he taught me how to keep score. And actually one of my favorite and one of my earliest baseball memories is of sitting on my dad's lap the day after Kerry Wood's 20 strikeout game in 1998, and we counted the strikeouts in the newspaper box score. And it was fun. Another one of my earliest baseball memories is the White Sox ballpark has these like almost Water Park-esque pull chain showers. I don't know if they still have them in like center field. And I remember running around with my brother. Yeah. So we were just like on those hot summer Chicago days, just, going to the shower and then going back to your seats soaking wet. I actually was at my parents' house, oh gosh, a couple of years ago now. And I think I found the ticket stub from what was probably my first ever Major League Baseball game. It was a July 5th White Sox Red Sox game in 1997.
Wow.
So it's been part of me for so long, and like learning the history of the game. And, I was a voracious reader as a kid. And so I read every baseball book I could get my hands on, and just became captivated by it. And I'm not exactly sure how else it developed from there, but I fell in love with it. I don't really know how or why, but it happened.
I just had, when you were talking about Kerry Wood, I just had this epiphany, like you and I were in the same ballpark at the same time. I was just covering the game. You were sitting on your dad's lap. No, I was there for that game.
So we watched it on TV, but day after.
But same city, right? Same city.
We were in the same city, yes.
Oh my goodness.
That's amazing.
Oh my goodness.
I can't imagine covering that game.
Oh, it was... when I was younger, growing up, and we had Roger Clemens, and then we remember everyone I was not. I was not at this game, but putting the K's up, in the bleachers for that. And those are the games that kind of stick out for you as memories, and especially for young women to share it with your dad or your brothers, and that to be kind of a core memory. It does really stick with you, doesn't it?
100%. My brother's 2 years older than me, and we used to go to his baseball games all the time. My dad was one of his coaches. I played t-ball and then softball, and just to be able to like share that experience. And my mom eventually also got dragged into it. She actually, she was one of those moms who, and I'm so sorry, I'm going to throw her a little bit under the bus right now. Let the record show, I love my mother. We have a wonderful relationship. So she was one of those people who extra innings like, wanted to leave.
Oh no!
So I remember we were at a game at Wrigley Field, and it got to be like the 11th, 12th inning, and she was like, "Okay, we're leaving." So we left, and we had like parked in one of the neighborhoods, a few blocks away, because my dad was like remains an expert at parallel parking. And as we're walking away, we can hear the roar of like the crowd and the Cubs winning. And from that moment on, my mom was like, "We're never leaving early. I'm so sorry." She felt terrible.
Yeah,
So
that is the worst feeling. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
You're like, what are we missing?
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, when you're a kid, I feel like it means a little bit more. But it was just really funny because from that moment on, she was like, "Nope, unless everyone agrees, we are not leaving early."
Well, when did you realize that your love and your knowledge of the game could be something that you could turn into a career?
Oh, geez, that's also a really great question. I think for me, it didn't really hit me until like I got into college and after college. Because even when I was in college, I didn't necessarily know, or it didn't really occur to me that the job that I currently do even existed, or that it was even a possibility. Like a lot of young sports loving people, I originally thought that sports writing might be my path. Because I love to write. I went to a school with a very strong writing background. But as I started slowly doing an internship here and there on like the team side, I realized that I loved that environment, and I liked not simply telling the story of a team from an outside objective perspective, but also just being part of it, and being one of those people behind the scenes. I fell in love with that aspect of it, and I think that was probably after I graduated from college and had done my first couple of internships. I realized that that's really the path that I wanted to be on. Because I also have a pretty unconventional background when it comes to like doing the job that I currently do, I think.
Well, what is that? Like, I know that you were so many different teams, even Australian league at one point. Wow.
So I'll try and keep this a little on the shorter side, because after all these years, I still don't know how to. I still don't know how to like condense this. So I went to a liberal arts school for college, Kenyon College in rural Ohio. Was a double major in modern languages and literatures and American studies. Sports editor of our college paper. I also worked in my college's writing center, as well as for the public affairs office, writing little mini press releases for them. While I was in college, I interned with the Akron Racers, who were a member of National Pro Fast Pitch, which is one of the predecessors of the AUSL now in terms of like women's professional softball in the US. Interned with that team, loved it, did a bunch of like marketing, media relations, social media, all that. And then after I graduated, I worked for the Australian Baseball League for 2 years, doing again like marketing, media relations, social media, a little bit of video editing, some website stuff, some writing, like kind of all over the place. And then from there, when I came back to the US, I was fortunate to intern in a media relations capacity for the Miami Marlins in 2017, which was the year that they hosted both the World Baseball Classic as well as the All-Star Game. So that was an amazing experience there. And that was kind of when it hit me that, I learned how to research game notes. I learned how to write for like a baseball team from like the team side in a little bit more depth. And I fell in love with it. So after that, I interned with Cleveland in 2018. Again, communications, PR capacity, returned to Australia in the 2018-19 MLB off season to work as like a traveling TV broadcast tech type person, graphics operator, which was again a lot of fun. Really, when you're two people lugging 300 pounds of equipment across Australia every weekend, that was an experience. And then 2019, I interned with the Kansas City Royals, and then joined the Twins in 2020 as an intern, and I've been here ever since.
Oh my goodness, you are the baseball traveling band.
Yeah, so I used to joke that I just threw a baseball at a map and went where it landed. But I also think that like a lot of, people ask you, how do you get a job in sports? And a lot of the common answer that you'll get is it comes down to luck and timing. And I really do think that that's true. But you also need to, I've worked my rear end off over the years to get to where I am today.
Well, the key, I mean, whether you're on your side of the fence or our side of the fence, the key is that you'll have luck and good timing if you're ready when the right job comes open. If you're not ready, then the luck and timing won't help you. You have to be ready. And I know you've worked really hard to position yourself. Let me take this moment to thank the people who make this podcast and the network run. And let's start with Aquarius Home Services. Thanks also to Alexis of Wayzata and Maplewood. And thanks as always to Minnesota Masonic Charities. And I'll ask a question here, Nina, before I turn it back to Dawn. I've been covering the Twins on and off different guises since I was a beat writer in 1993. And things have just changed so dramatically. Media relations, access, everything about my end of the job has changed. I'm wondering since you've been in the business, what have you seen change the most?
Oh, that's a really good question. Well, I think COVID was an interesting thing to work through, just in terms of so I worked a few seasons pre-COVID, and obviously everything post-COVID. So I think it made us rethink like how we do things and why from a little bit more of like a granular perspective, because COVID basically stripped away everything. As you guys know, changing the way that we do media access, changing the way that we do credentials which is a big part of my job, changing the way that we interact with people. So I think that was definitely a big thing. And I think that a lot of that was in a way for the better, because it made us actually understand we had been doing these things for so long. It actually made us understand why, and what the reasoning is behind it. Also for me, I had actually never worked a normal season for the Twins. So when we started to normalize things again, I actually had to learn all of our old processes, and it gave us the chance to look at them in a little bit more detail and figure out how we could do things better, which I think was an amazing opportunity. But I also think that social media has changed a lot. People are a lot more connected, and just the variety of different types of media. Like Jim, you mentioned that back in 10, 20 years ago, it was just your columnists and your radio folks. And now it's it seems like, no offense, everyone and their mom has a podcast.
Yes. Oh, it's very true. Yeah. One of the things I tried to do was get these podcasts going before everybody had one. And I think I was too late. Everybody has one.
Yeah. Oh,
my mom doesn't have one though.
She might. She's probably just keeping it on the down low.
You never know. Moms can be very sly. But I mean, I think too that the types of media that we credential has changed a little bit, and who is considered what.
No, but when you bring up Gen Z, it's true. Even in football, there's just a different perspective, and it's kind of it doesn't have to be so serious, right? Is that what you have found when it comes to maybe it changing a little bit?
100%. Because I also think that so one of the main jobs of any communications department in baseball or in any sport is to help tell the story of your team. Well, when your audience, the people that you're trying to tell that story to, changes, you have to change the way that you tell those stories. I know I've noticed a lot of teams shifting more heavily towards video, shifting more heavily towards quick content that people can scroll through and watch really quickly. And that's made us, adapt our strategy and figure out, okay, how do we position our players in the best way to make sure these stories are told in a way that resonates with them. I think also from like a TV broadcast standpoint, what kind of content do people want to see? You know, it's not necessarily there are definitely people who watch our games and want that traditional, you know, balls, strikes, home run calls, you know, a little bit of analysis, but they know what they're getting out of a baseball game. But I think that that's also given us a little bit of freedom to kind of play around with that model and see, okay, what can we do to make this a little fun, a little livelier? We did an all analyst broadcast last year, which I personally listened to a lot of it and thought that it was a ton of fun and just really interesting. But I don't necessarily know if that's the kind of thing that you'd see, you know, 10, 15 years ago.
Right.
If that makes sense. One of my favorite parts of that broadcast was actually when Pablo Lopez, who was injured at the time, joined them, I think in like the fourth inning, and ended up staying for the rest of the game.
I think you're right. Yeah, that was awesome.
So it turned into three analysts and a current pitcher. And in just like listening to that, it was fun. It was different.
You know what I love too, and especially so with us just recently, Fox 9 becoming a partner with the Twins and allowing us to perhaps open up the team and let it breathe a little bit more, you know, whether they're on our morning shows, or, you know, our pregame shows, little by little, people have to realize that the kids that are, and I call them kids in air quotes, that are playing the game, they want people to know who they are away from the field as well. You know,
Absolutely.
This is how they've been raised. So it's fun to have like the Pablos and some of the other players that realize like, yeah, I don't mind doing that too. You know, I know I'm not always wearing a helmet at the plate. They can see my face on like football or, you know, hockey, but they don't know who I am. And to see the amount of players embrace that must be easier for you and also more fun as a communications manager.
Absolutely. I think there's definitely a stronger emphasis on personal brands and like who players are as individuals, in addition to who they are in the greater context of the team. And one of my favorite ways that they express that is through, you know, their accessories or like what colors things are. The opportunity to customize their bats during Players Weekend and customize each piece of what they wear to tell their story. I'm also a huge fan of like when teams do, I know every single team does this, like player walk-ins, because like what they wear when they walk into the ballpark also tells you who they are.
Right.
And I think that it opens up all these different avenues for storytelling. Also, love having Fox and I as a partner, and we're so excited for this coming season. I've already been talking with my colleagues about story ideas that we can do with you guys. So I think it's going to be another really fun season of Twins baseball on Fox 9 and Gray TV.
I'm really looking forward to it. And so let's jump into then some housekeeping then, because it's coming up as Twins Fest and we spring training. We've got a lot more. Byron Buxton is going to Team USA World Baseball Classic. There's a Field of Dreams game. It's like, I was just looking down the list because I love baseball. I'm like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. You know, especially we're in the dreary, tough days of January right now. Twins Fest is always like that hint of spring, you know, before spring training. And I know it's crazy work for you, but have you seen in years past, like most recently, the players really embracing Twins Fest rather than, oh goodness, I gotta go to the frozen tundra in January? They seem to have fun with it.
I completely agree with that. And I do feel bad for them because we do have guys coming from very warm climates. And last time I checked, actually, I'm going to just check my phone right now. I'm so sorry, but the high on Saturday right now is -3.
Oh no!
So that's going to be really fun. But no,
at least
I know
it's
that
indoor.
Yes, very much indoors. No, but so one thing that I know that our players know and realize is that Twins Fest is actually the largest fundraiser for the Minnesota Twins Community Fund each year. So not only are they coming up and getting to have the opportunity to chat with fans and interact with, you know, the people who are going to be cheering them on this year, but they also get to raise money for a really great cause, and to help support the community fund's mission in terms of, you know, making sure that baseball and softball are accessible to kids across Twins territory. So I definitely think that there's a yes, we have to do this, but hey, let's have some fun with it. I know a lot of our guys are really excited to see everybody this weekend at Target
it's going to
Field.
be so much fun. Yes.
Yeah, which also Twins Fest Live is at Target Field this year for the first time ever, and there will be puppies. Just saying.
What? Well, wait a minute. Whoa, yes. Whoa. You buried the lead here.
Look, so Twins Fest Live is our Friday night event. We're also incorporating the Diamond Awards into the program as well. So we'll get to honor all of our standouts from last season. And also there are just a bunch of different fun stations. It is an all-you-can-eat ticket, and you can go around. I think there's like a bat and barrel wall. There's a punch wall. There's a puppy bullpen, and a bunch of different photo stations. And the whole point of the event is to just give fans the opportunity to hang out with our players for a night.
Absolutely.
Which I think is really cool. And everyone who I've talked to who has gone to it has really enjoyed it.
Where can people, if they're listening and they're like, oh my goodness, puppies, oh my goodness, players, where can they get tickets?
I believe it's twins.com/twinsfest.
Nice.
Nice. And again, that lays out the entire what's going on. We also have our clinic on Twins Fest Saturday. So that's available 2 different sessions for kids ages 6 to 12. We've got players and coaches going to that too. So you can actually get hands-on instruction from your favorite Twins players, which is really cool.
That's awesome.
And that's also at twins.com/twinsfest.
And when do you guys pack up and head down early for spring training? When in the life of a person like yourself and Dustin Morris, that you have to kind of get everything ready, when do you head down there?
Yeah. So you'd mentioned earlier that, Twins Fest is kind of the beginning of the year for us. And I do think that that's incredibly accurate, because it's about 2.5 weeks between the end of Twins Fest and when my department starts heading down there. I personally will go down on February 10th. I believe Dustin's a couple days before me and Mitch is a couple days after. And Matt's also going down for a week in March. So we'll all be down there at some point. And pitchers and catchers is February 12th, and our first full squad is February 16th. So not a lot of time between these things. So it really starts to get very go. And heck, January 26th is in 7 days. Yeah, it's a week from today, and then 2 months from then is opening day.
Oh my goodness.
So we are a week and 2 months away from opening day right now.
That's when you breathe. You take one day at a time, right? You get ready.
No, I have a saying in like everything that we do, it's happy chaos. That's all this is happy chaos.
Huh. That kind of sounds like TV. Happy chaos all the time.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes not even happy, just chaos. No, I'm just teasing.
It is. But everything that, I think, we were chatting a little bit before this about how, working in sports it's a lot of work, but in all that work is this underlying thread of like, you're part of something so much bigger than yourself. And that's a lot of fun. Everything that we do is geared towards putting ourselves in the best possible position to support our team and support our fans. And there's this feeling of joy and fulfillment that comes from that, that I can't really describe.
Well, let me ask you this. As a woman in a very coveted role in Major League Baseball, and I know that you've been through the chaos that's not so happy when it came to COVID and kind of learning things. When you see younger girls looking up to you, when I was in Milwaukee, I met Wendy Seelig-Priebe. And so to see a woman, working for the team, high up, be smart, be a professional. And like I said at the top of this podcast, I always believe in lions don't need to roar, and you're that person. You're so kind. You're so good at your job. You're so personable, but you get it, and you know the sport, and you get things done. What is your biggest piece of advice, not only to young women, but in particular women, but also young men that are trying to get into this business that think it's sports and I've got to be where I think you just have to be yourself and be a good person and know your stuff. But what piece of advice would perhaps you give to the younger generation trying to get into Major League Baseball on your side of things?
Yeah, no, that's also a really great question, and something that I think about a lot, because another thing that's really important to my department is giving back. So we host student groups throughout the year sometimes. If anyone reaches out to us, we're happy to chat with them. And that's an ethos that that my boss, Dustin Morse, has, and that has really trickled down to the rest of us. And it's something that we all share. So I think my advice is twofold. One, based on, we talked a little bit about my background. It took me a while to find my place in a full-time role in professional sports. And so I've become a firm believer that, if you work hard, if you are a good person, if you try your best and put your best self forward every day, there is a you-sized place somewhere in the sports world for you. It might take you some time to find it, like it took me, but if you want it, it's there for you. You just have to find it. And then another thing, and I say this with caveat that when this quote was said in the movie, it was not necessarily in a positive context. But there's a line from Jimmy Dugan in A League of Their Own where he says, "Anything worth doing is worth doing right." And that's something that I very, very firmly believe. So, whatever it is that you're doing, whether you're putting paper in a printer, whether you're delivering something to someone, if you're an intern and, you have to go around and clean up some stuff or organize things, and it might not be the most glorious of work, but do it right. Because the little things matter. And how you show up every day is important, and how you do anything from the largest of tasks to the smallest of tasks. It shows, and it reflects on you. So anything worth doing is worth doing right. And this is worth doing. So just do it right.
What a perfect way to end this, because Nina, you do it right. I just want to say that I am so proud of you in your personal sphere, but also so proud of your professional life and how you conduct yourself, and just the Twins in general. I just love how everyone is over there, and how the organization and franchise runs, and just the legacy it has of treating people well. But you personally, you do it right. So thank you so much for joining us today, especially where I know that you're just taking a little bit of time before you rev up and launch.
Oh, it's all good.
So
you know me, I'm always firing at all cylinders, but thank you guys so much. We are very, very lucky to have wonderful media to work with. So both you and Jim are just, you make my job easy. And I'm really grateful for that. So it's mutual.
Oh, so Jim, no messing up. We make her life easy.
I don't know. Messing things up is kind of my thing. So Nina knows. Nina puts on Kevlar when I come by. It's fine.
Well, Nina Zimmerman, you are the best. Thank you so much. Get your Kevlar ready for Jim Souhan, and we will see you soon coming up.